I never meant for my sister to find out. Especially not like that. It was supposed to be my secret. A quiet, private indulgence I kept hidden away in the back of my closet, literally and figuratively. But that Saturday afternoon changed everything. I thought she'd be gone all day. She told me she and her friends were going to the city for party shopping, and I saw my chance. Her room. Her closet. All those beautiful clothes. I told myself I'd just look. Maybe try on one dress. Just for a few minutes. I didn't expect the way her new satin-made costume would feel as I slid it over my body. How the delicate lace grazed my skin. How the frilly apron tied so snugly around my waist. How I almost gasped seeing myself in her mirror. Black stockings clinging to my thighs, glossy heels that made my legs look. Honestly, kind of amazing. I felt giddy, terrified, and strangely right, all at once. And then the front door slammed shut. Froze. "Hey, I forgot my phone." Her voice rang out, bright and cheerful, getting closer, too close. I scrambled to reach the zipper in the back, but the heels made it clumsy. My heart pounded like a drum. I barely made it to her door when she swung it open and... Stop. Time stop. There I was, caught in the doorway, wearing her French-made outfit, stockings and heels. My hands up like a criminal. Her mouth opened, closed, then opened again. A long, stunned silence followed. My breath hitched. Her gaze swept over me from head to toe. More curious than angry, more stunned than disgusted. "Are you serious right now?" she finally asked. My cheeks burned hotter than I thought possible. I couldn't speak. Couldn't run. Couldn't lie. My worst fear had just happened. And yet, she didn't yell. She didn't laugh. She just folded her arms and waited. For an explanation I didn't know how to give. That's when I realized. I had to tell her everything. I took a shaky step back into her room, the heels wobbling under me like they knew I wasn't supposed to be wearing them. I didn't look her in the eyes. I couldn't. Not with her seeing me like this. Not dressed in lace and satin, with fake lashes trembling on my cheeks and pink gloss still fresh on my lips. I didn't mean to. I stammered, then stopped. Lying wouldn't fix this. She raised an eyebrow. "You didn't mean to wear my maid costume." Her tone wasn't harsh. It was skeptical, a little stunned, but not cruel. That somehow made it worse. I wanted her to yell. I wanted her to be furious. I wanted her to say anything that would let me off the hook, make this stop feeling so real. Instead, she stepped into the room, closed the door behind her, and leaned against it with her arms crossed. Her eyes studied me, curious now, like she was seeing someone she'd never met before. "You've done this before," she said softly. Not a question. Fact. I nodded slowly, cheeks burning. "Okay," she whispered. "Tell me." It took everything in me to open my mouth. I've always felt something when I saw pretty clothes. Dresses, makeup, heels. At first I thought it was just curiosity. But then I started trying things on. Secretly. I couldn't stop thinking about it. The feeling of silk, the way lipstick made me look different. Softer. I finally looked at her. Her expression hadn't changed. No judgment. Just quiet attention. I swallowed hard. It's not just a game. I don't know what it means, but when I dress like this, feel like I'm me. The real me. Or at least, someone I want to understand. There was a long pause. The air felt thick, like the whole room was holding its breath. "Wow," she finally said. "That's honest." I felt a lump in my throat. "You're not mad." She shook her head slowly. "Honestly, I'm surprised. But not mad." That cracked something in me. The fear started to melt just a little. I blinked fast, holding back tears. "It's so stupid," I whispered. "I've always felt ashamed. Like I was broken or weird. I never thought anyone would understand. Especially not you." She smiled just faintly. "I always knew there was something gentle about you. You were never like the other boys." I opened my mouth to reply, but nothing came out. "I don't hate you for this," she said quietly. "But I need to know. Is this just about wearing my clothes? Or is there something more going on? I hesitated, then nodded. There's more. My voice cracked. I don't know if I want to be a girl, but I want to feel like one. At least for a little while. I want to explore that side of me. Not just the clothes but the softness, care, the beauty. Everything I'm not allowed to be. Her eyes softened. And in that moment I didn't feel like a freak. Felt seen. She took a step toward me. Her voice dropped low, thoughtful, almost playful. Well, if you're going to wear my maid costume, you should at least do it right. My heart skipped. What do you mean? I smirked. Sit down. I obeyed without thinking, sinking carefully onto her vanity stool. The satin of the costume brushed over my thighs as I crossed my legs, trying not to look too eager. My hands fidgeted nervously in my lap. She opened her makeup drawer and pulled out a palette of soft pinks, purples and shimmers. If you're going to be my maid for the day, you'll need the right look. I stared at her, stunned. You're helping me. She met my eyes in the mirror. Only if you trust me. Do you? I nodded before I could even process the question. She smiled, gently tilting my chin up with one finger. Then close your eyes. The first brush of foundation was soft and cool on my skin, like being touched by clouds. She worked in silence at first, dabbing and blending with such careful precision it made me shiver. Then came the concealer, hiding the evidence of who I used to be. Layer by layer, she painted someone new into the mirror. You have good cheekbones, she murmured, more to herself than to me. You'd make a stunning girl if you wanted to. I blushed so deeply I felt it even under the powder. Her hands were firm but gentle, confident as she shaped my brows, darkened my lashes, and traced my lips with the softest pink gloss. Each touch made my heart flutter more. Each stroke made me feel like I was being unwrapped, revealed, made real. There, she said, standing back and admiring her work. You're adorable. I opened my eyes and gasped. The girl in the mirror was me. But not the scared, ashamed version I knew. She looked sweet, soft, delicate. Her big eyes sparkled, her lips pouted ever so slightly, and the black maid outfit clung to her curves like it belonged there. I swallowed, breath caught in my throat. Pretty. My sister grinned. You look perfect. I laughed softly, feeling my voice sound higher, more delicate. It came naturally, like it had been waiting to be heard. Now, she said, standing up. Let's do something about that posture. She guided me to stand, adjusting the frilly apron around my waist and smoothing the dress's ruffles. Then she took a pair of black, fingerless lace gloves from her drawer and slid them over my trembling hands. They match the outfit, she said. Every maid needs her finishing touches. When I looked back in the mirror, I almost cried. I was her maid. And deep down, I didn't want to stop. Okay, she said playfully. I need help setting up for the party tonight. And since you're already dressed for it. I looked at her with wide eyes. You mean like this? I smirked. Why not? No one else will be here for hours. And besides, you said you wanted to feel like a girl. I nodded slowly. Then show me. And with trembling hands and fluttering heart, I followed her downstairs, each step in my heels echoing like a promise. The sunlight pouring through the living room windows painted the hardwood floor in gold. I felt like each step I took in those black heels echoed louder than the last, like the house itself was aware of my transformation. The satin skirt of the maid outfit swayed gently with every move, brushing my thighs, reminding me of who I was pretending to be, or maybe becoming. She handed me a feather duster with a mischievous smile. There. Now you really look the part. I gave her a nervous giggle, half embarrassed, half flattered. My cheeks still felt warm from the makeup, from her touch, from the strange but comforting sense that I was no longer hiding. Do I have to actually clean? I asked, half teasing, half dreading. Oh yes, she grinned, settling onto the couch and crossing her legs. A proper maid doesn't get to lounge around. Especially not one as adorable as you. Something shifted in her voice. Just slightly. There was a teasing edge to it, but also something else. Something firmer. Like she liked seeing me like this. Like she was beginning to enjoy the little power she now held. I did what she asked, dusting the shelves, adjusting the pillows, bending down to straighten things. And every time I moved, I could feel her eyes on me. "You move like a girl," she said thoughtfully, head tilted. "Did you always have such graceful little steps? Or is it the heels?" I swallowed hard, my face burning again. I don't know." She stood up and walked over, slowly circling me like a lioness with her prey. "You don't need to pretend anymore. You clearly like this." I didn't deny it. She stopped in front of me, inches away, her gaze locked onto mine. "You're not just wearing a costume," she whispered. "You're wearing yourself. Aren't you?" My throat tightened. He nodded. That's when her expression changed again. Soft but commanding. She picked up a pink collar from the coffee table. I had no idea where it came from, but it sparkled in her hand like it belonged to me. "I found this in your drawer last week. I was wondering if it was yours." Froze. You've known." "I've suspected," she said calmly. "I saw the lipstick on your toothbrush one night. Then I checked your browser history. You're not exactly subtle, sis." The word hit me like a jolt. And still no anger. No disgust. Just control. She stepped closer again. "Do you want me to put it on you?" My knees went weak. I don't know." She tilted her head. "That's not an answer." I looked down, heart pounding. "Yes." Her fingers were gentle, but there was finality in the way she clicked the collar closed around my neck. It wasn't tight, but it was undeniable. I gasped softly, and she smiled with satisfaction. "Good girl," she murmured. Something twisted inside me. Guilt, fear, arousal, shame. But also belonging. I was hers. "I'm throwing a party tonight," she said, casually strolling back to the couch. "You're going to help me serve drinks, make sure everything is clean, smile for my friends. That okay with you, princess?" I looked up at her, lips trembling. "You want me like this? In front of them?" She raised an eyebrow. "Why not? You said you wanted to feel like your real self. Isn't this part of it?" Tears stung at the corners of my eyes. "I'm scared," I whispered. "I know," she said softly. "But you're not running away anymore. That was the old you. The one hiding in shadows. You're out now." She paused, then leaned forward slightly. "And I like you better this way." My heart thudded at those words. But deep down I felt a crack form, because as much as I loved this attention, this transformation, I couldn't help but wonder. Was she helping me, or was she starting to own me? Evening fell faster than I expected. The house glowed with fairy lights and soft music, and the scent of lavender and vanilla from the candles my sister lit clung to every room. I had been dusting, arranging snacks, and checking the drink table over and over, unable to stop fidgeting in my glossy black heels and clingy maid costume. I felt like I was on the edge of a dream, or a disaster. My makeup was flawless, thanks to her. My wig was brushed out into soft waves that framed my face just right. The collar still hugged my neck, reminding me of every moment that had passed since she found me. "Okay, sweetheart," she said, stepping in and giving me a once-over, like a boss inspecting her employee. "Time for the real fun." I blinked. "What do you mean?" He smirked. "The guests will be here in 10 minutes. My knees nearly gave out. "Guests?" She tilted her head innocently. "Did I not mention? Just a few of my closest friends. All girls. They're very open-minded. Don't worry, they're going to love my cute little maid." Panic set in. I can't." I began, but she cut me off with a finger pressed to my lips. "Shoo. You've already come this far. Don't you want to be seen?" Her words wrapped around me like velvet chains. She was right. I had always fantasized about being accepted, admired, even humiliated a little. But this wasn't just a fantasy anymore. It was happening. Before I could protest, the doorbell rang. Froze. My stomach twisted into a knot. "Go open it," she whispered. My trembling legs carried me to the door. Opened it. 3 girls stepped in, all smiling, dressed casually but stylishly. They were beautiful, confident. And then they saw me. There was a beat of silence. Their eyes scanned me head to toe. The black satin-made dress, the thigh-high stockings, the pink gloss, the glittering collar. One of them let out a surprised giggle. "Oh my God, is this your brother?" My sister stepped in beside me and answered for me. "Not anymore," she said with a grin. "This is my maid for the evening." Another girl, tall with piercing eyes, tilted her head. "Is she blushing? That's adorable." I didn't know what to say. I just looked down and curtsied without even thinking. The motion felt so natural now. The girls clapped in delight. "She even curtsies. This is so cute." My sister handed me a tray with drinks. "Why don't you be a good girl and serve them?" I swallowed the lump in my throat, took the tray and stepped toward them. They didn't stop smiling. They watched my every move. They complimented me, teased me, asked questions in sugary tones. "What's your name, sweetie? Are those real stockings? Are those real stockings? Does she do chores too, or is she just decorative?" Each question made my face redder. My hands trembled. But a strange part of me, some deep hidden part, felt seen, wanted, feminine. And then came the twist I didn't see coming. My sister clapped her hands. "All right, everyone. Truth or dare time." The girls shrieked in excitement. I tried to slip away, but she stopped me. "Oh no, darling. You're playing too." I don't think." Her voice dropped. "Maid doesn't say no." "Right." I looked around. All eyes were on me. "Right," I whispered. The first few rounds were harmless. Silly dares like questions. But then it was my turn. "Truth or dare?" one of the girls asked. My voice was barely audible. "Truth." "Have you ever kissed a boy?" Froze. The silence was heavy. "No," I whispered. My sister leaned in. "Would you like to?" Laughter rippled through the group. My face turned crimson. I covered my face with my hands, shaking my head with a nervous laugh. But my sister wasn't done. She stood, walked to me, and gently pulled my hands down. "You're so cute when you're embarrassed." She turned to her friends. "All right, who votes that our maid takes a dare next?" All hands went up. She looked back at me. "Dare." The word hit me like a bullet. "I dare you," she said slowly, "to kneel in the center of the room and beg each of my friends to call you by your girl name." I looked at her, stunned. "What girl name?" She smiled wickedly. "You choose." I wanted to cry. But even more, I wanted to obey. I walked to the center of the room, heels clicking like shame. I knelt down, smoothed my skirt, and whispered, "Please, call me Lacey." One by one they did. Each time it felt like a soft little whip, stinging and sweet. I was no longer a brother in a costume. I was Lacey, their maid, their entertainment, their beautiful little secret. And I wanted it. The night blurred into a soft, sparkling haze of giggles, teasing and lingering stares. I moved through the room like a dream in heels, balancing trays, topping off drinks, fetching snacks with a curtsy and a "Yes, Mississippi." Every time one of them called me Lacey, a shiver ran down my spine. I had never heard my name, my real name, spoken with such warmth, such playful ownership. They didn't see me as a joke. They saw me as a girl. But that feeling came with a growing, gnawing ache I hadn't expected. I started to feel small, suppose, like a wind-up doll who had been beautifully dressed and placed on display. When I passed the mirror in the hallway, I caught a glimpse of myself. Lipstick slightly smudged, collar twinkling, mascara a little too heavy beneath my widened, helpless eyes. I barely recognized the boy I once was. Was he gone? I returned to the living room just as the last round of dares began. The music had quieted, and the mood turned intimate. The lights were lower now. My sister's eyes met mine across the room, and I saw something in her expression I hadn't seen before. Possession. She stood. "Okay," she said, Final dare of the night. This one's for Lacey. All eyes turned to me. I swallowed hard. Yes, miss. She grinned. You've been such a good girl. So obedient. So pretty. But I think it's time we really test how far you've come. She reached into her purse and pulled out a small pink leash. My heart stopped. Come here. The room went silent. I looked at the girls, then at her. Was this too far? Did I have a choice? But my heels moved without thinking. I stepped forward. She clipped the leash to my collar. The click was soft, but final. I'm taking you outside, she said sweetly. Just a quick walk down the driveway. Just so my friends can see how brave you really are. Froze. Outside. She leaned in and whispered. Or, do you want to stay my little secret forever? The other girls were wide-eyed, breathless, hanging on my answer. Half of them looked stunned. The other half, intrigued. I wanted to say no. But my lips trembled, and I whispered instead. Okay. She smiled like a cat who had finally caught her mouse. Good girl. She tugged gently on the leash, leading me toward the door. My heels clicked. My skirt swished. My heart thundered so loudly I could hardly breathe. I reached for the doorknob. And just then my phone buzzed on the nearby counter. Froze. It was my mom calling. My sister saw it. She smiled slowly, wickedly. Oh, she whispered. Should we answer it, Lacey? The room held its breath. So did I. What would she say if she saw me like this? Would she understand? Would she find out anyway? I turned to my sister, eyes wide, heart pounding. And she just tilted her head and whispered, Well, what happens next, Lacey?